What's up, guys? Coach Jesse Minshew with Get Handles Basketball back with Chris Barner here. Got some awesome stuff for you guys to help you become a better basketball player in general. If I were to, or you were to come to Chris and just say, hey, Chris, hook me up. What's the workout I need to be doing to get stronger, faster, be a better player? What should we do? What would that be, Chris?
Absolutely, man. So, I mean, what I'll do is I'll kind of put you through a sample routine of a kind of a general basketball player, right? And I'll kind of walk you through exactly what the exercises that I would use, the modalities that I would use. However, what I usually start off with, like let's say, for instance, a basketball player comes into me for the off season. First and foremost, what you need to do is some form of needs analysis. I always say this, and you guys always, or at least my guys always hear me talk about LeBron James. One thing I've always loved about LeBron James is every off season, he's adding a new tool to his toolbox. Sure. So he's focusing on a weakness. When he lost to the Mavericks and with the Miami Heat, one thing that he focused on that entire offseason was his post game because he knew he needed to add that. Now, 5-6 years later, he has that in his game, and he's still utilizing that weakness that he had at that one point. But now he added that tool to his toolbox. So if you came into me, we'd do a full needs analysis, see exactly what it is. If you're a guard and you're like, hey, I need to put some weight on, and because I'm getting body down there, then obviously we'd go ahead and focus a little bit more on the weight. So it's kind of more based on the particular athlete as we go along, but this will give you a general sense. Okay. So what we would first start off with is a dynamic warm-up, where we go through a series of kind of dynamic stretches to kind of get your body warmed up. Okay. After that, with this being kind of a lower body day, we'll go through a sample of a lower body day. I would have you do things to essentially start to turn on or fire your glutes, right? Playing basketball, moving in multiple planes of motion, whether it be linear or lateral, or even jumping, we need to have those glutes firing because that's your motor on the court, right? So first one that I'm gonna have you do is essentially I would have you come down onto all fours. Cool, and then what I'm gonna do is just by firing the glute, all we're gonna do is what we call fire hydrants, where you actually lift the leg up, pause for 1 Mississippi, bring that leg back down. You're gonna repeat that 2 more times. Boom, just like that. After you do it 3 times for a pause, you're gonna do it 3 times fluid. So go ahead and 3 times fluid. Boom, 2, 3, and then flip to the other side. 1 with the pause, perfect. 2, perfect. And then 3 fluid, bang. Good, immediately after that, I would do some kind of a mobility, right? So I wanna open up those hips. I wanna go shoot straight back and circle that knee around as hard as I possibly can, as high as I possibly can. And that's just gonna open up the hips. There you go, perfect. Getting you moving different range of motion. Good, articulation of the joint, perfect. So now that essentially you're warmed up, I have the athlete warmed up, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my highest neurological movements first, right? So the things like the balance and coordination, things of that nature that have that proprioception that I want you to focus on, the most quality reps possible within the workout, I wanna do while you're not fatigued. So we'll do those and we'll stack those in the beginning. So the first one that we'll do, and I'll just show you a quick progression, is I wanna get obviously stabilization and balance and coordination on single leg. You know, that's huge in basketball. You're constantly, off balance. You're trying to throw somebody off balance. So you need to have great stabilization. First one we're gonna do is just gonna be a single leg toe touch. So I just want you to sit on one leg. You're gonna raise the opposite arm over your head. From here, what I want you to do is you're gonna keep this tight and I want you to sink down. Don't just bend at the hip. You're gonna sink down, touch your toe, come all the way back overhead. Boom, just like that. You know, I would have that athlete repeat 5 of those. You could already start to see your ankle starts to move. Yeah, sink down, touch, come back up. Yeah, so what I teach my guys, if you start to feel off balance, I want you to start thinking about contracting your core, right? Flexing your abs. It's gonna make you a little bit more stable. Bang, and that's why we do it in training. We wanna consciously turn it on. There you go, take your time. Good, sink, touch. And I'll repeat you that 5 times on each side. If I need to progress that, I'll tell the athlete, close your eyes. So by doing it, coming here, doing the same thing, closing your eyes, it makes it even more difficult. So try that one time. Yeah, it's even tougher, right? Or I can add something now where I add some kind of reaction component. So I say, hey, single leg toe touch, same thing, go ahead and single leg touch down, bang, stand on that one leg, now catch the ball, bang, You see what I'm saying? So yeah, so I can progress it as I go along. But first, the first thing that we're order of business that we want to do, there's many drills, but that might be one I try to progress. So the next one that I'm obviously going to start to focus on as far as the exercise, where I might add a little bit of a low-level plyometric. So we're still focusing on that stability in a single leg. I might use some kind of dots on the rubber, maybe draw some chalk. But really what I'm trying to do is low-level plyometrics, getting them be able to stabilize throughout that ankle, throughout that single leg, that unilateral leg, and have them be able to produce and absorb force. And that's really all low-level plyometrics are doing. So I might run them through, today we have a ladder, I might have them run through something where essentially they're doing variations on a single leg. So if you want to, you can just come through here and basically we'll start off and we'll go through a series of things. You don't have to go all the way down, but let's say just go through the first 5. You might just start off with just a simple single leg, bang, 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 all the way down, 5. Good touch, perfect, perfect. Good, then and obviously we'll repeat these, right? So the next one I might have you come through is essentially going 1 over and 1 back. So you're going 1 over, 1 back, 1 over, 1 back. And obviously you'll do them on both legs, but yeah, for purposes, there you go, boom. Easy, good. High focus, perfect. Then we'll start moving with the lateral components. So they'll either come in here, go 1 in, 1 out. Just like that. Easy. Perfect. And then, I might progress them, boom, coming through. There's a million exercises that we could do, but essentially what I'm trying to do is just simple single leg plyometric low level. When I mean low level, it's low impact, right? It's pretty simple for them to do. They're stabilizing on that single leg. They're being able to absorb force as they land and produce force as they go to the next one. And that's really what we're focusing on. Yeah, so the next one, now that we've done low level plyometrics, we can move more into more impact and a little bit bigger plyometrics. So now, as opposed to just absorbing and focusing on the absorption, I'm gonna focus more on the production of force, right? That's the rock star of this whole thing. How high can you jump, right? You're a single leg jumper. I like the balance between single leg and obviously bilateral 2-leg jumps, depending on who he is. If the athlete only goes double leg, I typically only have them train single leg jumps. Or I might focus on that a little bit more. Reason being is because that's their weakness, right? If I can strengthen you on a single leg, not only will you feel more comfortable on the court, jumping off one leg, but it will translate over to you jumping higher with both your legs. Okay. So I don't say I rule it completely out, but I'll focus a little bit more on that. In the beginning of the off season, I focus mainly on single leg. I'll do some bilateral, some double leg jumps, but a lot of it is going to be that single leg and being able to produce as much force out of that one leg as possible. So I might start off with just some kind of plyometric, or we could just from here, so we don't have to have high impact coming down, but I'll do some kind of a single leg box jump. So you just come here, I'll have the athlete set up, explode up onto the box, stabilize. In the beginning, I might have them land 2 legs, right? Depending on what level they're at. Then I'll progress them to landing single leg and then go from there. So if you want to either there or there, just a single leg, boom, pop up. Yep, perfect, good. And then try one on land single leg, perfect, good. And then what I'll do is I'll just kind of progress them in height as they go, have them stabilize on that single leg. A big thing I'm looking out for here is I don't want them to leave their feet and just throw their leg up. A big thing I want them to do is focus on driving off that leg and landing as high as you possibly can. Because some guys can jump off one leg and then essentially just lift their leg up pretty high. That's kind of defeating the purpose. You're better at flexing your hip than you are actually extending the hip. Does that make sense? Yeah, yeah. And then the next one, I might progress to something a little bit more, if we're doing double leg, it would be the same thing, some form of a box jump. If we need to progress this, we could do something like a kneeling jump, where essentially I would have the athlete focus on, if I'm jumping off this leg, they're from a kneeling, so we're in a deep range of motion, and then they would explode off, boom, and jump right back onto the box. If I want to make it more sport specific, where, hey, they're getting close to season, I might have them do some form of an approach. So I might have them come up just like they would do a layup, boom, jump, land as if they were doing that. If we need to hold some kind of med ball to make it even more sport specific, as if they're carrying the ball to the court, or to the hoop, I can do that. So either way, I can continue to progress this. No matter what, I'm focused on driving as much force as possible, getting as high as I possibly can. Really want to push that issue. Try the kneeling one, and then I'll have you do approach after that. So yeah, you'll just go down kneeling, drive off that leg. Good.
Push off this one.
Yep, push off that one, you can land two. Boom, just like that. Pretty simple, you know what I mean? But the thing is, we're getting that total stretch on the leg. So we're getting out of it. You know, normally when I do approach, they're doing the leg and it's about a quarter, right? We're about at a quarter. So that's all the motion they're doing. Here I'm recruiting more motor units by putting that on that full range of motion. Okay. So that's why I'm doing it. And then the approach, if you want to, what I say is I tell my guys, go do a layup. Okay. You know what I mean? So act like you're going to the hole off that single leg, come, boom, stick it, jump 2 feet and land 2 feet. So you could actually, I mean, this is where I would start creeping up in the height, you know what I mean? Start challenging the athlete. So if you want to, try one. Bang, just like that. And really what I'm doing is we can really start to creep up there, really focus on driving off that leg as much as you possibly can. Now that we've done our plyometrics, we've kind of gone through the balance coordination, now we actually start to move towards the weights, right? We want to be able to produce maximal force, right, when we jump on the court. I want it to come with ease. You see your guys who are playing ball that can just jump out the gym, they move with ease, they glide around the court, that's why. So we want to make it most efficient by creating more power stems usually from basketball players with more absolute strength. So I think strength is one of those components that a lot of basketball players don't like to do. They love to spend hours on the court, right? But if I could get your squat or your trap bar deadlift up, right? Let's say 100 pounds, you know, respectively or whatever it is, you're going to start to see the fruits of that labor on the court. So first one that I like to do is some kind of a compound movement, right? And I like to go lower volume, and I like to go higher intensity. So we might go like 5 sets of 5 here on something like a trap bar deadlift or a back squat. And I'll have that athlete essentially, try to progress by cutting down the reps each week and increasing the amount of weight we're putting on. So if we did 5 the first week and the next week we did 3 repetitions, I'm gonna wanna increase by 20, 15%, something around that nature. So what you'll do, just go ahead and step in and go ahead and you're just gonna grab the handles. Good, flat back, lift right off. Perfect, you've done this before. Good, and the reason why, just go ahead and give me 4 reps. Perfect, you'll warm up and then we will go through it. Perfect. There you go, 2 more. 1. Dope. The reason why I like something like a trap bar deadlift or a back squat is because it attacks the entire posterior chain, right? If you think about a vertical jump, right? Essentially you're turning on lower back, glutes, and hamstrings and being able to explode. Obviously the quads too, but then you're being able to explode. This directly starts to translate. If we can increase our absolute force, our absolute strength in these type of lifts, you'll start to see a bigger jump. I didn't get to a 44-inch vertical jump by just doing jumps. I had to do a lot of weights and I had to make sure that I was doing them in a proper manner where I was progressing that overload each week. The reason also why I like trap bar, you keep your torso a little more upright. If you ever think about you playing basketball, I know a lot of guys like to jump and throw their shoulders over and be able to come here. You don't typically see that on the actual court. Most of your movements are, boom, I'm here, my chest is upright, my torso's upright. So I'm not saying deadlift right here in front isn't good. I just, for some reason, for me and a lot of the guys that I work with, when I use trap bar, it translates over to a higher vertical jump. Yeah, so typically now we've already done our strength component, and that's really the big focus of, meat and potatoes. I like to do a lot of plyometrics, do the heavy lifting then. Now these are gonna be more auxiliaries or supplemental style lifts, okay? Usually what I like to do is to work on the conditioning as well. I like to kind of superset them, where you go from exercise to exercise with minimal rest in between. So the first one that we'll do is, again, this is, we wanna break it down to a single leg exercise, And then we'll also go to a double leg exercise. And I like to balance those out. What I like to balance out is a lunge pattern, where I'm essentially having you in some kind of split squat motion, and then a bend pattern. Why? Because we performed a squat pattern over here. So there's essentially 3 different movements in your lower body. If you think about it, I mean, there's also gait where you're actually sprinting, but if you think about it, it's squat, it's bend, and it's lunge, right? So we want to kind of balance out those movements. So the first one that I'll have you do is what we call Bulgarian split squat. All you're going to do is you're going to come probably split roughly where you can kick that leg back. You're gonna shift your weight over that front foot. You're gonna put this top of this foot right on this bench. What I want you to do is set up, and you're just gonna sink down, try to drive that knee down here, putting all the weight here, and then driving off on that first front glute. So go ahead and give me 5 of those. Good, keep your torso upright. Boom, sink down, perfect. Come all the way back up. Good, tight core so you're not wobbly, perfect. Good. 2 more. 1, 2, perfect. And usually what I'll have an athlete do is, the way I'll progress is obviously just create some kind of resistance, have them hold dumbbells in their hand, try to build them up with weight, and now this is gonna supplement all the other movements that they're doing. The reason why I like this as well is, let's say I'm getting closer to in season, I'm gonna have them controlled, coming down, and then boom, exploding up as fast as they can. Now this will translate over to that first step that we're looking for. So it's just kind of breaking down, mimicking more what they're doing on the actual court. You know, so as I get closer to the season, I want to start tweaking their exercises a little bit to say, hey, we're gonna mimic exactly what we're doing over there. Now, as soon as you're done that, I would have you come to the bend pattern. So for this bend pattern, all we're gonna do is what we call band RDL. You could do this with dumbbells, you could do this with some kind of barbell on your back where it's like more like a good morning. But for this purposes, what we're gonna do is, band good mornings. But basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your feet shoulder width apart within the band. You're gonna wrap this around your neck, essentially right here where you would a squat bar. And then what I'm gonna teach the athlete to do is keeping their back flat, chin tucked. I want them to reach their glutes behind them. So you're gonna reach your ass behind you. So you're gonna come down, boom, I'm pushing my ass back and coming forward, feeling obviously squeezing, firing off the glutes and the hamstrings. What I'm looking for, instead of just tipping over like this and coming over my base of support, I actually wanna drive my hips back and then be able to come up and squeeze the glutes and hamstrings. So you could go ahead and try that real quick. Good, step in, shoulder width apart. Good, sink down. Good, you wanna grab the band. Good, adjust it so it's on the fat of your back, exactly where you would put the bar when you're squatting. There you go, perfect. So now keeping your back flat, knees slightly bent. Good, reach the hips back, good. So come up. Good, now slightly bend the knee, slightly. Now lock it there. Don't move it anymore, nope. So, no, yeah, don't lock it out, I'm sorry, but put it in place and don't move it. Now drive the hips back. Good, the reason for that is now we're putting the glutes and hamstrings more on stretch. There you go, perfect. Good, go 5 more. Perfect. Perfect, slow it down. Knees don't bend anymore. Hips back, hips back, hips back. Perfect, right there. Good. Last 2. 1, 2. Cool, you can step out of that. And what this is gonna do is gonna translate over to that big vertical jump that we're talking about. Obviously, like I said, I like the trap bar, but this will also be able to help out and work on the jump that we're doing. Yeah, so finally, you know, after we've gone through our leg workout, this is gonna be kind of the end of the workout. I always like to work on the torso. Why? Because as a basketball player, whether you're grabbing a rebound, you're being placed in all kinds of different positions. And essentially the torso here, which you consider your abdominal region, right? Your core is what gives you that good body control. For you, if you wanna give a good crossover, boom, you're only as good as where your body, the energy you're being able to transfer through your torso, right? So if I'm here, boom, and I got the ball out here, for me to be able to transfer it back this way, I have to have a good, strong, stable torso. If not, my body comes here when I try to make that cut and that pivot, right? So does that make sense to you? This is basically your base. So we want to keep that core stable. So what I like to do is I like to do a variation of anti-rotation style movements, where basically I might be planting my feet, moving my upper body, having to create and transfer energy through this torso for me to be able to have it. So I might have some kind of boom where I'm being able to strengthen, but instead of actually rotating, I'm anti-rotating. So I'm stabilizing it here, all while creating force up at the top. So what you could do to start off, I might start off with just some kind of press here, right? Or I might start off with big windmill circles. And then I can progress an athlete to actually now put you in a more unstable environment, and then I have you do the same thing. Does that make sense? Yeah. So go ahead and start off by putting your feet right underneath your shoulders, right? Then you're in your basketball stance. And then what I want you to do is I want you to circle around your head, below your belly button, come back down. You're gonna go 2, and then I want you to go 2 the opposite way. Good, feet in just a little bit more. So if I start an athlete out, I might say feet wide. To make it harder, I'm gonna have your feet come inside your shoulder. Yeah, good, stabilize. Think from here down, right? From your shoulders down, nothing moves. You're locked in like a statue. There you go. Perfect. Boom, 2 that way. Perfect, yeah. Yeah, moving in different range of motion, good. Good, now try it again. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go into a split stance and try the same thing. Good, bring that feet in just a little bit. There you go. Same thing. Good, stabilize, stabilize, stabilize. Good, stabilize. Perfect. Good, come that way, come all the way over top. There you go. Get those elbows wide. Perfect. And then, you know, sometimes if I'm nearing the season, I might have them do, so, you know, I might have them move in some kind of movement where I can attach some kind of, you know, ball to this, or have them hold some kind of ball, put that on their hands so they're moving with it now, or they're having them move in different spaces. So really there's endless possibilities when it comes to training the core and what I'm trying to do. Really, I'm trying to go from stabilization to flexion and extension, rotation, to ultimately integration, where I'm adding different components and I'm integrating the upper and the lower halves, because that's really what you're doing as an athlete, is you're playing with your upper and lower body. So really that's where I'm progressing them, and that's really what a typical workout would look like if I was trying to approach a basketball player for his off season. Okay. That's about it.
That's awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hey, guys, make sure you check out Chris's channel. I'm going to have it linked in the description down below. I'll pop up in a card for you guys, too, so you can check it out. But make sure you subscribe. He's got a lot of things to help you guys get stronger, faster, jump higher. Yep. Am I missing anything?
That's all of it.
Better athletes in general. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
Make sure you check out his channel and subscribe, and check out or subscribe to my channel also.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.